Boxing truth here. The Mikey Garcia story continues. I'm not done with Mikey Garcia just yet. He's one of the most interesting fighters out there in the sport today. Especially what he's been going through politically, the issue with his former promoter, and now he's an undercover Al Haymon fighter, but continues to tell the public that he's a free agent. But he's just like the other fighters in this business. He's limited to a certain side, limited to a certain network, limited to certain allegiances, where he's only going to be able to secure certain opponents depending on the side of the street that he's on. And he's on the Showtime side. So him calling out Terrence Crawford, Vasil Lomachenko, and Manny Pacquiao, when in the reality is all those fights are pretty much pipe dreams, considering the history he has with Top Rank and what happened over 2 years ago after he tried to set free from his contract, break free. It was a long process, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it on why Mikey did what he did, considering he could have had all these fights had he simply just stayed. But now he's on the other side where he can still get big fights. He can get good fights, recognizable fights. But if you're a fighter and you ask yourself, do I want to fight Thurman, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Robert Easter Jr. on this side, or do I stay on this side and fight Crawford, Pacquiao, Lomachenko? Which of those fights are going to make you a bigger star? Which of those fights are going to make you elite pound for pound level? Most fighters will say they would have stayed on the Top Rank side because the Pacquiao fight was available. And this is why I'm trying to understand what Mikey Garcia did. He was complaining about his purses, was unhappy with his purses, even though his purses were gradually increasing fight by fight. Against Juan Carlos Burgos, his last fight under his promotional agreement with Top Rank, he made a reported purse of $725,000. Not bad, which is pretty much the norm for an HBO showcase on regular HBO. That's what you usually get paid. But then, this is where you start scratching your head. Mikey turned down a 7-figure purse to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa in a fight that was scheduled for May of 2014. Mikey's reasoning? He didn't like the terms of his contract with Top Rank. It came with an extension, and he didn't want to fight under those same terms that he signed when he first signed with Top Rank, which is understandable, reasonable, but it just still makes me scratch my head. It's not like Mikey would have fought for those exact same purses had he continued to fight bigger names and bigger fights had he continued with Top Rank. Top Rank would have kept offering bigger purses depending on the opponent he was fighting. Especially if he would have fought a Manny Pacquiao. He would have gotten the type of purse Brandon Rios got, or the type of purse Bradley got in his 3 fights against Pacquiao. Bradley had a great career simply because he signed with Top Rank. Could possibly go down as a Hall of Famer someday. But Mikey made his decision to leave, even though he was in position to get all these fights. And now Top Rank is obviously they're throwing shade. They're not impressed with Mikey's performance, and they're accusing Mikey of ducked the shit out of Pacquiao, Crawford, and Lomachenko, considering he could have had these fights had he simply not left Top Rank. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. Why did Mikey leave? Even though he was getting bigger purses, even though he was getting a significant payday to fight Gamboa, with the plan to eventually get a Manny Pacquiao fight, because Mikey was going to get that fight had he simply stayed, continued to win, and continued to look good. It's now 2017, and Mikey Garcia finally got his first 7-figure purse, on paper at least. earned $1 million to fight Andrew Broner on Showtime. And now he's in position to get fights on that side of the street. But who is the big money-making fight over there on that side? What type of payday could he generate fighting a Keith Thurman or a Danny Garcia or Robert Easter Jr.? Heyman don't really have any significant 40-pounders.